Argument 8.
Many corporate logos have changed since a long time ago. You think Chrysler was bad? Look at the Warner Brothers logos. But wait, you say, how could they have changed? They were Warner Brothers, for Christ's sakes. Well, take a look at this logo. This was when Seven Arts purchased a part of Warner Brothers back in the late 60s. That was their logo for a short period of time, but then reverted back to their original later. And what about Scream Gems? First you had the Columbia Torch Lady, then this logo that looks like it should have been in the Modern Art Gallery. All logos are guilty of these major changes, Guptill, and all of Chrysler's logos are very well known either way. So if you can't pick out the Chrysler Wings or the Chrysler Pentagon, then you're not familiar with Chrysler at all. Simple as that.
True, the Warner Brothers and Screen Gems alterations were pretty stupid, but at least they had the courtesy to place the business name along with the insignia. Also, little do you know, you were actually adding to my argument. I complained about Chrysler because while some can be familiar with the manufacturer, they can still get bewildered, especially if they went to an old-fashioned car show, or if they're on the road and spot a vehicle with any one of these symbols on it, because they can forget what trademarks the corporation had. This response also applies to what you mentioned after I said, "What company is that again?" Argument 9.
Have you seen the modifications of the Pepsi logo over the years? The general design remained the same, of course, but the Pepsi font changed, and the overall design of the Pepsi ball slightly changed. And you're okay with that?
Yes, I am, because as long as it says Pepsi on the can, bottle, or other object, nothing is wrong. The long line of modifications is a perfect example of consistency, something a few other organizations like Nike and Gatorade lack.
But what about the Mountain Dew example you presented earlier? You had a problem with the word being more italicized, but you have no problem with complete font changes unless the Pepsi ball looks similar.
Refer to what I said earlier about the Mountain Dew issue since I don't want to recapitulate.
I don't know. What is the point of this video?
To point out actual problems with the economy that most folks take for granted? Argument Dees. This is his opinion about the remodeling of the Dunkin' Donuts building.
The current design didn't change too much. They just adopted orange, so of course the outside sign must turn orange to keep the building up to date so that it doesn't get replaced with another store. The roof must match too, so the building doesn't look out of place and outdated with the new sign change. And the interior must match for the same reason. So why are you complaining about progress and maintenance? Do you want your local Dunkin' Donuts to go out of business?
If an establishment only gets redecorated, it shouldn't be considered progress. The real definition of progress would be expanding the size of the structure or putting up an entirely different premise altogether. Take this for instance. The old McDonald's properties in New England had an appearance that looked like a 3D interpretation of the original Pizza Hut seal. Now, the buildings are rectangular cubes with bricks and stone. Despite the fact that it slightly looks like a car dealership, it's an appropriate redesign. Also, they added more parking spaces. On the other hand, going from this to this doesn't work. And besides, as long as the sign has the words Dunkin' Donuts on it, individuals are going to order the treats anyway. Argument number 11.
Your way of thinking is dangerously counterintuitive to the nature of the invisible hand of the economy. Again, Adam Smith would spit in your face.
Oh, please. If I didn't possess the knowledge exemplified in the presentation, the bad U.S. economy could get worse. A lot of officials are greedy and are spending thousands of dollars to do things that inflame the financial crisis, such as this. In Somersworth, New Hampshire, there used to be a medium group of houses in one particular area. Citizens lived in that area. There was also a furniture store as well. But one day, all those buildings were torn down just to construct a CVS pharmacy. If you thought demolishing the houses was bad enough, across from the pharmacy is another pharmacy owned by Rite Aid. Brilliant. Simply brilliant. What they should have done was nothing. But if they kept the plans to put up a CVS pharmacy, all they would need to do is set it inside the place where Rite Aid was if that particular store went out of business and just keep the homes and furniture store. That would be an example of a healthy economy. I doubt Adam Smith would be mad at me. Argument 12. This comes after the closing statement.
Then it is necessary to change it to make sure that the store is kept up with the times and to catch a person's eye. That's the necessary reason to change it, Guptill. You said so yourself.
Bad news. You misunderstood. Again, refer to what I said about that stuff earlier because I don't want to reiterate it.
Guptill, you need to understand the basics of our economy. You can't just have everything remain the same all the time, otherwise people will get bored easily and will move on to something else, and put other companies out of business. Sure, there are certain logos that are classic and only went through minor changes, but those were companies that became ridiculously successful and part of our mainstream culture.
Well, guess what? Gatorade, Nike, and Chrysler have been part of the American culture for quite a lot of years, and their symbols didn't have to go through such baffling alterations throughout the course of time. The problem is, most workers aren't that smart. Also, it's actually bad marketing to confuse customers. Well, that's it. 12 arguments, all of which I disagree with. That is a lot. So, young blood, as well as everybody else, I hope you've comprehended this long reply and will take into account strategies to help build an actual, robust economy. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.